Well, hello there. How are you doing today? Today, I've got a little something I'd like to share with you. Kind of an idea of sorts. So come on in. Let's get started. What do I have going on for you for today? Over the last couple months, I had to start clearing out Ray's house. It had sat for about 10 months untouched. And to secure it to be in Kayla's future and for it to do what Ray wanted it to do, which was really providing security for her forever, we needed to rent out the house because Kayla is not in a financial place where she is able to take on the house and take it over. And so we wanted to allow it to pay for itself until she was ready to take over the house. And so the only option so we could keep the house for her future was to rent it out. And that meant that we needed to disperse Ray's belongings and really go through his house and get rid of some stuff. Boy, as a lot of you can probably relate, when someone dear to you or a loved one passes away and you're the one left responsible for their belongings, either keeping them or dispersing them, it is something that is emotionally trying and very hard to do. And you're left with this feeling of not wanting to get rid of anything or feeling guilty because you have to get rid of things. And so it leaves you really wanting to keep everything. And that just wasn't something that we could realistically do, was keep all of Ray's belongings. So when I was going through his house, I wanted to be very intentional with the things that I kept. And I kind of battled with what did I want to keep, what was the most important things to keep, or the most sentimental, or whatever it may be. And I kind of battled with that for a bit because what I struggled with was I didn't want to keep things and just store them. I had bought a shed, a 15 by 8 foot shed that I put on the utility side of my house. And I did that because there were pieces at Ray's house that Kayla wanted to keep. And I didn't have room in my garage to do that. And I had an 8 by 8 foot shed that was falling apart and it needed to be replaced. So I figured it was a good excuse to get rid of that shed, upgrade a little bit, so we could put Ray's stuff in the shed versus paying for storage, because over a year of paying for storage, I will have then paid for a shed that will have paid for itself after a year. And so I just felt like, you know what, this is the best option and this is what I'm gonna do. And so I did it. Kayla and I put the shed together ourselves, and there we had room to store some of the bigger things that she wanted to keep of Ray's. But then there was just everything else that was so hard. And like I said, I wanted to be very intentional with what I kept and why I kept it. And I didn't want it to be something that was just sitting in a shed, being stored there just for the sake of keeping it and saying I have it. And so, I kind of sat with it for a bit, kind of pondered it. If you're somebody who's followed me for a while, and you follow my mystery box challenges, I say a lot in those videos that I get my best ideas and my most inspiration in my sleep. And one night I woke up and I know how I want to pick the items that we are going to keep, and I won't have to store them. And so I went to the girls and I said, hey, what do you think about the idea of choosing the things that we want to keep of Ray's based on the room? So we take a little something from each room in his house that we can then incorporate into our house. And over the last 6 months, I have been renovating my house and really taking it from being what was once our family home with my ex-husband to a home for the girls and I that is just ours. And this was the perfect opportunity to then incorporate some of Ray's belongings into our home that way. And so I went through each room of his house, his bedrooms, his bathrooms, his kitchen, his garage, his living room, his family room, his dining room. And the girls and I picked pieces or items very intentionally that we could then incorporate into those rooms in our house. And that way, when we are in those rooms, we see those bits and pieces of Ray that will remind us of him. And there we've got him, just a bit of him in every room of the house. And so I want to share with you how I did that, the items that I kept, and how I incorporated them into our house. In the kitchen was a place that I kept a lot of pieces from Ray. He had this hex-clad cutting board. This was something he loved. He loved cooking in the kitchen and making things. And so I just thought that this was the perfect addition. And who knew that he was onto something with these mixing bowls with lids. When I saw these in his house, I thought, oh my goodness, I remember him using these, but I didn't know they had lids. So yeah, I will use these and think of him. And what's even better is they match all the stainless steel and black in my kitchen. So it's a win-win. Thank you, Ray. I love to bake, so these will come in very handy and useful. Like I said, Ray really liked to cook. He had several knife sets, and so I kept one of the lesser ones and put it on my countertop. And he had these cookbooks by Josh Wiseman that he had the intent of cooking with or making recipes out of. And this guy, this Nick guy, he liked Nick Wiseman so much that he got 2 of the same cookbook, and I just didn't have the heart to get rid of one. But we do have the intent of making some of the recipes out of these cookbooks, but for now they just stay on the countertop because Ray really liked these and he was excited about them, and I'll use his knives when I cook. Ray was a huge Marvel fanatic. He loved Marvel movies, but not only did he love them, when he watched them, he had to watch them in full surround sound. So he had surround sound bars on the 3 TVs that he had in his house, and I thought that that would be a fun way to incorporate him into each of our rooms. He also had these newer TVs that were only a year old, and my TVs, I want to say, were probably upwards of 7 to 10 years old. And so instead of selling his TVs, we replaced our TVs with his TVs and added the surround sound. And so yeah, one night we're gonna have a Marvel movie night and we will hear it in surround sound in honor of Ray, but we do have surround sound on every TV in our house. Sound, and the dogs are eating ice. They love ice. They got the cutest crunches ever. It's the cutest thing. I love them. Hi, Willow friend. You're my Willow friend. Hi, sweet girl. Yeah, you're just a little bit. You're just a tater tot. This is another one of his sound bars and his largest TV. And we got really lucky because each of the TVs was the same size as the TVs that we replaced his TVs with. So this here, funny story. Ray had purchased this for us because I think he wanted us to have something in this house to remember him by us if we weren't going to. But in his head, he wanted something that represented him and the things that he loved to do. And so he had purchased this Pac-Man game with 2 stools. And it came one day, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:47 to be exact, Ray woke me up and said, "Mom, let's put the Pac-Man game together." And so I got up, he came in here, sat on this couch here, and he watched me put this game together a week before he passed. And he insisted it couldn't be in the garage, that it had to be here in the house, and that we had to play it. And so I do, I cover it up, because if it's gonna be in here, I just need it to blend. We also got this rack from Hobby Lobby, this metal wrought iron rack that we put all of his deputy stuff, his gun belt here, minus the gun, the flag from his funeral, and there's Ray. These were memorial bears that we had made out of all of his uniform shirts. And his best friend, Erin, she is a deputy, asked us for a few of his shirts, and she had 3 of these bears done for us. Here, I'll show you this. These are his notebooks. I thought these were pretty cool finds because it had Ray's writing in it. Of his deputy friend slash brother, his name was Brandon. He had these whiskey bottles made up for Ray, in honor of Ray. And the rest of his deputy equipment. So that's what is incorporated into this room. So here we have got Ray's lamps. The base was once gray, and I spray painted it with the oil rubbed bronze, and I covered the lampshade, one of them, with burlap, and the other one is about to be done. And Ray did have good taste in decor. We did go shopping, and those flowers were actually decor pieces that he thought were cool because he said they looked like twigs. I really think it's more like leather strips, but he really liked them. And so these were decor pieces that were in his bathroom that we used. So now they're in our bathroom that he used. And we added some of his decor from his house. This was a piece from his house that we added here in the hallway. When I redid our hallway and made it look like apartment doors with the mailboxes, the lanterns, and the addresses up here. The addresses are our birthdays. And so I had done the girls' doors here. This one is Allie's, and this is Kayla's. And then, of course, Allie insisted that I do my door because I originally didn't have my door done. And so I did add my door. But then once it was done, it looked funny that this door wasn't done, the bathroom door. And so I decided to make this door Ray's with his birthday and put a lantern. We just didn't put a mailbox. And each of the doors do have a doorbell. That does not work. And here in my room, I added his TV and the third surround sound bar that he had, since this is where we spend a lot of time. The girls and I will watch movies in here. And so here in my closet, this was the last uniform Ray wore in its entirety that was in his locker at the facility. You can see the wrinkled marks. And so this is just temporary. I would like to have it framed at some point. I just haven't, and so I didn't want the wrinkles to go out of it from his shirt being tucked into his pants and his pens and stuff that are in his pocket up there. And then this was the flag that was taken down from the facility the night Ray passed away, and it was drove here to my house, and it's what they covered Ray with for the ride to the mortuary. I hope that this video was a video that may have helped somebody who is going through that struggle, who is maybe holding on to items that you don't know what to do with, that they're just in storage and you feel a bit guilty. getting rid of them, but you don't know what to do with them. This is just an idea, and I feel like it makes it a bit easier to, it did for me anyway, it made it easier for me to let go of the items at Ray's house. But even then, with his belongings, I was very intentional with who they went to. And it brought me peace. And a lot of the people that bought his couch and his dining room set and his bedroom set and his computers, I asked them if it didn't seem weird to them, if they would take a picture of it and just show me its new place in this world, just to bring our hearts a little bit of peace. And I would say 98% of the people did that for us, and it brought us a lot of comfort, and it made our hearts feel just a little less heavy. And so, yeah, as for Ray's clothes, we do have 11 bags of his clothes in the shed, and we haven't gone through those yet, but we're going to. And the girls and I are going to pick out clothes that we remember Ray wearing, and we're going to have 3 blankets made, memory blankets that we can put on our beds. And then I think we'll probably end up donating the rest of his clothes to a foundation or a cause that the 3 of us agree upon. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share this idea with you, and maybe it helps you, and it helps bring you peace and helps you to incorporate your loved ones' belongings into your home in a way that maybe you didn't think you could. And that way they're not just sitting in a storage bin or a shed or a storage unit. Until next time, everybody, stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy. But most of all, you know what I'm gonna say this next one, it's a hard one. And we gotta dig deep sometimes just to find a little bit of positive in our life, but we're gonna do that. We're gonna find some positive. Bye for now, everybody.